It is a great morning to be here. We're at the the Oaks Garden Theater. I keep wanting to say Royal because we're in Canada and everything is so royal and regal here.
It is, yes, isn't it? But the Oaks Garden Theater, which is celebrating its 80th anniversary.
And we're here for the live broadcast of Kelly and Ryan. They're going to be broadcasting live here for their show today at 9 o'clock this morning. And then they're going to be taping a second show that's going to air tomorrow here on 7 ABC. But take a look behind me. Ordinarily, you'd be able to see the falls. Look at all the fog here and the mist.
Yes.
You can't see anything. Hopefully that clears out of the way because that's going to be a pristine backdrop for this set that is already getting the final touches this morning.
It really is quite stunning, and it's hard to believe as we're sitting here, 3,000 people will be here to watch this live show, the live broadcast and the taping. People from both sides of the border, and we're so excited that WKBW 7 ABC was able to bring quite a few Western New Yorkers to the show.
Yeah.
So we've got a bus that's going to be delivering everybody here before the 9 a.m. live broadcast live with Kelly and Ryan.
15 lucky contest winners will get their chance to be in the audience. Here we're going to see one of those people in the audience, Niagara Falls Mayor Jim Diodati, coming up on 7 Eyewitness News at 6. This theater, the Oaks Garden Theater, sits at the foot of Clifton Hill. It's celebrating, as you mentioned, its 80th anniversary, and there's no better way to celebrate that kind of a milestone than bringing on one of the longest running daytime television shows like Live with Kelly and Ryan.
Absolutely.
This is actually the third time the show has chosen Niagara Falls as a breathtaking backdrop. Regis and Kathy Lee first brought the show here 21 years ago. They were here again then in 2006, and then recently they were here as well.
Right, so they were here in 2006. Then, so that was to introduce co-host Kelly Ripa.
Sure.
Hard to believe that she was just being introduced, right? You got to go back a little ways. Now, fast forward to 2017, Reg no longer on the show, but Kelly is back, this time with her new co-host, Ryan Seacrest, who was introduced on May 1st. And we know that they've been taking in the sights and sounds of Niagara Falls over the course of the last weekend, really enjoying everything that is to offer here. It's just so majestic.
We saw Ryan Seacrest on his Twitter and his Instagram talking about how he loves being in Niagara Falls, taking in the sights and the sounds. He was riding around on one of the Hornblower cruise lines, wearing his red poncho. You know, it's kind of the equivalent of the Maid of the Mist that we're so used to seeing. But there were so many people who kind of got so much from seeing him, and just the fact that they're here in Niagara Falls not only does wonders for Niagara Falls, Ontario, but also wonders for Niagara Falls, New York, as they celebrate a milestone here in Canada.
We'll be talking to Mayor Jim Diodati about that in the 6 o'clock hour. Also at 6:30, we have a very special guest. Mum's the word. We are not going to tell you who it is, but at 6:30, we've got a special guest. We're really excited to bring that person on the show with us. You don't want to miss that. Coming up at 6:30.
Okay, so there's a lot that you want to stick around for. And guys, take a look once again at the set as they kind of put the final touches on what's going on here. The stage is set, ready to go, waiting for Kelly and Ryan here at 9 o'clock this morning. But Andy, as you mentioned, it's a little foggy out there. Is that fog going to clear? Are we going to be able to see the falls behind us?
Yeah, I think you're going to, by the time the show starts, that shouldn't be a problem. By the way, I was told that Ryan's hair was unaffected by the Maid of the Mist.
Oh, thank goodness, right? For small things, miracles.
Exactly.
Mine is.
Good to see you guys. That is well lit and a lot of activity up there. We've got activity on 7 Super Doppler this morning, and a lot of it's up there along the shoreline of Ontario. It's going to miss you there in Niagara Falls, but for the folks along Route 18, that has been sliding right along the edge of the lake. It missed Lockport and Albion right on your doorstep. Let's go take a look at Somerset. The action pretty much through there. You've got some lighter showers now, but boy, were there some pretty good thunderstorms. Look at the center of those storms as we pop the 3D elements on there, and that'll show you the core of the rain. The heaviest of it now just to the east of Carleton and Hamlin is going to get hit, and there you can see how that cell, just the heaviest rain, straddles the shoreline right along Kendall. You're up for this next, probably another 10 minutes. It'll be crossing your backyard. Let's go ahead and widen this out and show you what's going on. There are the 50s right now and a lot of fog out there this morning. As we move through the day, don't expect to see a ton of sunshine on this Monday, but we will get the temperature back up into the 60s during the afternoon hours. That's the best chance of rain here in downtown Buffalo. See some of that thunder and lightning as we get to the evening hours. We may actually see a little bit of clearing in the skies. A couple of cool days before the warm-up comes, but it arrives just in time for the weekend. I'll tell you about it when I join you back indoors.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Andy. This is a live look at London, where police are investigating this weekend's terror attack. The BBC is reporting that police know the identities of the 3 attackers and are working to release their names. 7 people died in the attack. 48 more were injured. Meantime, critics are condemning President Trump for his Twitter response to the attack, saying he's trying to stoke fear for political gain. Trump called for an increase in security, saying, quote, "If we don't crack down, it will only get worse." He also criticized London's mayor for telling people not to be alarmed. London Mayor Sadiq Khan says Trump mistook a statement where he was warning Londoners about increased police activity in the wake of the attack. We're uncovering new information this morning about this chaotic and violent scene in Portland. Police arrested 14 people during competing rallies yesterday. They say hundreds of protesters gathered in a park in a show against a Trump free speech rally happening across the street. Things went off the rails when police say the counter-protesters started chucking glass bottles and bricks, even balloons full of foul-smelling liquid. Officers had to close the park where they were gathered and used pepper spray to get the situation under control. Investigators say most of the people arrested were in the anti-Trump bunch. Check this out. Police released a picture showing a sample of the weapons they took away during the protests. And brand new this morning, police in Corfu are investigating a crash near Darien Lake that ended with 3 people in 2 different hospitals. According to the Buffalo News, one woman was trapped for half an hour in her car after a head-on crash on Route 77. The woman was taken to ECMC. 2 people in the other car were taken to Strong Memorial Hospital in Rochester. Police have not released the names of the 3 people who were injured. And we're working to learn more about this fire that broke out in Niagara Falls. Rob Bennett captured this video on Weston Avenue between 18th Street and 22nd Street just before 10:30 on Saturday night. The White House says President Donald Trump has filed for an extension of his 2016 tax return. Now, the official did not say when or why President Trump filed the extension. The president has refused to release his previous returns because he said he's under audit. This is the first time in 40 years a sitting president has done so. State police issued thousands of tickets and made hundreds of arrests in a Memorial Day weekend crackdown. Now, the crackdown was focused on drunk and impaired driving. State police arrested more than 230 people for DWI and issued more than 12,000 tickets for violation. And now, as you're making your way out to work this morning, let's check in with Autumn Lewandowski. Autumn, how are the roads looking this morning?
You know what? We have pretty much clear roadways all the way. Here I am. Hello. Foggy conditions, clear conditions on our roadways, but with the fog, we're down to around a quarter of a mile worth of visibility in portions of Niagara and Erie County. So where you see a lot of the white and the darker grays is where we have the densest fog this morning. So if you're going to be traveling right along the Niagara River, if you're going to be from Lewiston to Niagara-on-the-Lake and then down to Niagara Falls, yes, we're still dealing with that. And even on the 290 this morning, right at Colvin, starting to lift a little more so as we get closer to 9 a.m. The sun comes out, which we won't be able to see too much of, but as things start to warm up, we'll start to see this lift and eventually clear as well. The 290 at the 990, as we look at it, as you get off the off ramps there to the 990, there are no problems. Right at Sheridan, you can tell you are dealing with a little bit more fog, but just use the low beams. You won't have too much of any problems. And now that we're getting a little bit lighter, it's a little bit easier to see as well. We'll keep you updated if anything changes. For now, it's a good and easy morning commute.
All right, thanks, Autumn. The Ryan brothers may be out of Buffalo, but they're not out of the spotlight. What we know about this bar fight caught on camera. Plus, it's some heavy hosting for these rescue crews. Why this horse needed to be airlifted to safety. 5:38 on a Monday. You're watching 7 Eyewitness News.
Get the latest weather alerts from the 7 First Alert team of meteorologists and the latest headlines from the 7 Eyewitness Newsroom by liking us on Facebook and following us on Twitter.
Welcome back. Take a look. This is a live look at the Oaks Garden Theater in Niagara Falls, Canada. In just a few hours, Kelly Ripa and Ryan Seacrest will be live for a special show taping right across the border. Ed and Ashley are there this morning getting a behind-the-scenes look, and we'll check back in with them at the top of the hour. And take a look at this video out of California, where crews had to rescue a horse that fell over a cliff. Now, authorities say a woman was walking up a trail with her horse when the trail began to narrow. The horse tried to step over a fallen tree and fell over a slope into heavy brush. A vet sedated the animal, then crews airlifted it to safety. The horse has some bruises, but is thankfully otherwise okay. The horse owner was not hurt. And happening today, Bill Cosby's sex assault trial starts outside of Philadelphia. Cosby is accused of drugging and raping a woman who worked at Temple University. She says she went to his house for career advice, and he gave her pills, then assaulted her. Cosby says the encounter was consensual and that he gave the woman Benadryl to help her relax. Dozens of women have accused him of doing similar things. A handful of them are expected to be in the courtroom today. And we're protecting your family this morning. If you have a child in a car seat, you're going to want to make sure it's installed correctly. Now, a new report out of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration shows that 43% of child car crash deaths could have been prevented if the child was properly restrained. A big problem, letting kids face front too soon. Another one is not putting your kids in booster seats as they get too big for the car seats. And this morning it was a bit foggy outside. Where's that fog going? Well, let's check in with Andy Parker.
Yeah, I want to rewind time a little earlier. Check out 7 o'clock last night. Our Skywatch 7 cameras looking off to the south and west. And this is a thunderstorm as it came rolling on in. There's some raindrops out in front of it. Once it swallows up the camera, you don't see anything till it hops out the other side. That was a very heavy rain that ended up sliding down from the South Buffalo region into the South towns yesterday evening with torrential torrential downpours. Now today we still have a few of those out there, but they're headed towards Rochester on quick order, and then we'll see a bit of drying out behind that, but expect more showers later today. Let's show you the community still affected. They're about to exit our friends in Orleans County and then move through Monroe County, probably sliding just north of Rochester. Looks like the light show just beginning there as we tilt this down and take in street level here. You can see there's that Lake Ontario State Parkway. That two-lane road is very close to the water. This does not extend that far inland, only to 360, and I mean this is not but a number of miles there. So let's go ahead and bounce this up, show you the amount of lightning strikes that we've collected in the last hour. 44 now. That's a lot more than what we had along the shoreline for our communities. But again, this is headed towards our friends in Rochester. We'll say goodbye to that. That's the view outside, Liz. You were talking about the fog, and as I'm in downtown Buffalo, what it's done is you can still see near the surface, but the top of the buildings are gone, and it's forced all the seagulls to take lower flights through the city. Kind of an interesting morning there. 57 degrees, and yes, it is cloudy out, no doubt about it. 5:37 will be the sunrise. I don't think we're going to get a good view on Skywatch this morning. 59 in Springville. Everybody's starting off at about the same spot. Less fog down here, more as you get to the north towns. Let's look at our day today as we go from the morning right on into the afternoon. Mid-60s, about the best we're going to do. We're going to keep that wind a little northerly today. Bad news for the folks along the shoreline of Ontario. That's going to churn a few of the waves up again. So if you're dealing with beach erosion, today is one of those days where you're going to have to kind of keep an eye on what's going on the shoreline. Expect to see a few rumbles of thunder right through the middle of the afternoon. It'll probably be a little closer to lunchtime for the areas of our southern tier. You can see Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, Allegheny, Coudersport getting into the act, Bradford as well. You'll see these kind of fire up and move on off, and then we're going to see the activity develop in the north towns between maybe 3 and 6 p.m. That's going to be the best chance of you guys picking up some rain. Otherwise, we'll keep those cloudy skies right through the afternoon. This includes the south towns as well, probably around the dinner hour. Then that slides off. If you have some evening activities, I don't think you're going to have a ton of rain, but wow, the clouds kind of hanging tough, and they're going to do so again tomorrow as well. Temperatures today in the 60s, tomorrow the 60s, Wednesday the 60s. You're saying, when is this warm-up coming? It's the coming up on the middle of June. By the 10th, I think this is when the switch, we're going to flip it on, and here it comes. We're going to end up with numbers at 75, 80 degrees. Now that is a good-looking weekend in June, and we can promise you those 80s look like they're going to roll out right on into much of next week. Always love to see your stuff, whether you're out and about and you catch some raindrops or a thunderstorm. Hit us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We'd love to share it with everybody here on television.
All right, I'm holding you to those 80s, Andy. Thanks so much. The Ryan brothers are no longer leading the Bills anymore, and it looks like they've been getting into a bit of trouble in their spare time. Former head coach Rex Ryan and his brother Rob Ryan appear to have gotten to a bar fight while in Nashville. You can see the two brothers fighting with patrons in these videos. Now, before the fight, the Ryan brothers took part in pre-Stanley Cup Finals festivities. Well, Autumn, we wish them well when they left Buffalo. I don't know about these videos, so looks a bit tough, but
yeah, they're having a little bit of too much fun.
A little too much fun, right? Well, how much fun are people going to have on the roads as they're heading into work this morning, Autumn?
Well, you may need a few extra minutes. We do have a little bit of fog to talk about as we get out the door this morning. Otherwise, all of our roadways, we don't have any accidents to tell you about. The construction that we've pretty much had as long-standing is still pretty much in place, and not too many new things are happening right now. But as we get you out the door, let's show you where the fog is. So where we have some of the light white to gray areas go from how it's where we have a little bit more of a, I should say, lowered visibility. So as you go through Grand Island, right along the 190, and gets a little bit better as you head south and east, and even southern Ontario is going to be dealing with the fog as well. Take a look at the 190 at River Road. Just about 10 minutes ago, you could hardly even see the base of the Grand Island bridges here. Now that's lifted up a little bit further, and you can tell both sides are moving along smoothly. The 190 right at Sheridan, as we wind the bend a little bit further. Again, this picture is now looking a lot better than where it was just about 10 minutes ago. The 190 at Ontario, you almost couldn't see it. So it's still a little bit worse than other areas further north. So at Ontario, you're going to be through varying visibilities as we drive through the morning. That dense fog advisory lasts until 9 a.m. Here's a current look right at Austin, improving as you get to downtown Buffalo.
Tablets and your kids. One family hires a researcher to look at what goes on in their kids' brains as they interact with screens. And stay tuned, those results, they'll surprise you.
In today's Tech Bites, One Love Manchester dominates Twitter.
The charity concert after the terror attack generated more than 6 million tweets, nearly 60,000 a minute at one point. Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber were the most tweeted performers.
Apple's annual developers conference kicks off today.
It's almost certain new versions of its operating systems will be announced, and maybe a new iPad. Many analysts also expect Apple to expand the functions of Siri, its voice assistant, and maybe even introduce a Siri speaker.
Similar to Amazon's Alexa. Now, Siri was first, but apparently is now lagging far behind Alexa.
Alexa's cuter. This could be the future of pasta. Researchers at MIT have engineered noodles that start out flat, then change into different shapes.
The two-dimensional pasta makes it easier to ship and to store, but we're told the taste needs a little work. Is it yummy?
Yeah, that's a key. Those are your Tech Bites.
In this morning's GMA First Look, the stakes are high as the sexual assault trial is set to begin today against the man once known as America's Dad.
I have been in this business 52 years, and I've never seen anything like this.
Cosby is charged with felony aggravated indecent assault stemming from a 13-year-old claim from accuser Andrea Constand, a former Temple University employee. Constand alleges the comedian drugged and sexually assaulted her at his home in Pennsylvania in 2004.
Whenever you try a case a decade old, in this case we're talking 13, 14 years, quite naturally, memories fade.
And coming up at 7 a.m., Dan Abrams weighs in live. With your GMA First Look, I'm Lindsay Davis, ABC News, Norristown, Pennsylvania.
80% of recurrent ischemic strokes could be prevented with the right steps.
And take it from me, every step counts.
A Bayer aspirin regimen is one of those steps in helping prevent another stroke. Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
Introducing mocktails from Ocean Spray.
Non-alcoholic juice drinks inspired by your favorite cocktails.
Like sangria, the taste will take you away.
Got carried away.
Well, you've heard of cats getting stuck in trees, but what about dogs? It happened in Salem, Kentucky. Two off-duty state troopers were doing work at a cemetery when they heard barking. They investigated and found this cute little face sticking out of a tree. Initial attempts to free the dog were unsuccessful, so they called in the fire department. A firefighter then cut a hole in the trunk of the tree so they could pull the pup out. Now, the dog named Rocco was reunited with his owner. In case you're wondering how Rocco ended up inside the tree to begin with, well, apparently he crawled in through a groundhog hole. And happening today, students and employees across Western New York will be wearing crazy hats in memory of Maxim Sugarovsky. Crazy Hats for Kindness Day will help raise money for Maxim's Giving Tree Foundation. Sugarovsky died 2 years ago in an accident at Delaware Park. Kids and screen time. Most parents don't know exactly how all that time playing games will affect their kids' growing brains. So one family decided to find out. Reporter Terrence Lee from our Scripps sister station in Cleveland has the story.
Ella and her brother Jackson are part of an experiment. Their parents wanted to find out how tablet use impacts them. So researchers hooked them up to sensors. They found the tablet is much more stimulating than other activities.
This curve up here is what you see when she was actually playing a game that she enjoyed on an iPad.
Ella's mood changed too. She was exhausted.
After I played the game, the video game, it just kind of went away.
So it causes a release of neurotransmitters that actually do make you feel better. They make you feel good. They make you feel awake.
Ella and Jackson's parents were relieved. Neither is addicted to technology. But for kids that are, look at these brain scans. One doctor says it looks like a brain hooked on heroin.
Some of the people who are making the games are designing them deliberately to hook us on them and to get us addicted and not want to do anything else.
So how do you protect your kids? We talked to Sarah DeWitt, an expert on children and technology. She had this advice.
Find something that really meets the kids' interests, then that's going to be the most educational experience for them. Look at your schedule. Think about what's the best time for the family to have screen time, and then be ready to talk to your kid about it. If you talk to your child about what they watched or what they played, their learning is going to be even greater.
And right now on 7 Eyewitness News at 6, it's a big day in Niagara Falls, Canada. We're taking you over there this morning as Kelly Ripa and Ryan Seacrest get ready to go live.
And she said that I should stop crying because Olivia wouldn't have wanted me to cry.
An emotional concert as Ariana Grande performs in honor of those who lost their lives in the deadly Manchester terror attack. And we're on the lookout for details this morning after a car crashed on a dangerous stretch of road that you may be taking to work this morning.
You're watching